Welcome back to a brutal Vulcan playthrough. This is episode 13, Floating Island Edition. And you'll wonder why I didn't call it the Skybox Edition. You will find out near the end of this video why I'm calling this the Floating Island Edition. All right, so we finished up a previous mining run, and let's go ahead and speed this stuff. So besides the sorting and doing some smelting and degassing, I am going to make some pieces I'll need to extend the hydroponic room a little larger so I can put in more potatoes there. And see, I'm going to have to make an automated oven. So I'm running out of cereal bars, so I'm going to need to start cooking potatoes, and I just despise using the microwave. So at this point, it's easy enough to go with the oven. Doesn't require any super alloys, and I'm making a dirt canister. And this will make more sense near the end of the video. And if you've been keeping up with my other videos of various automation scenarios and tips, so I don't get into too many of them in this one, but I am planning forward to start automating more and more. Just still a little bit in survival mode, but trying to get out of this debt here and start getting stuff going. All right, so in general, the priority right now is I need to increase the O2 production. That's sort of the theme. Need more O2. And with more O2, then I can automate the O2 extraction from that room. So I'll put in a unit that will pull out the excess CO2 out. So I won't have to manually, bring over canisters anymore. And with that, then I can go to automating the water production. So besides extending the size of the hydroponic, I need to make a boatload of hydroponic trays, and they consume quite a bit of iron. So it's a lot of iron going through. Yeah. I threw the oven in here because I don't really have much room in the hydroponic room. So I'm just going to put this normal speed so you can see what's going on. So this tank is doing pretty well cooling. It has the my early version of the phase change cooling system using the radiator. I need to switch that over to the chamber version, which is far more efficient. And I do plan to automate all this stuff, so I'll have chips in this stuff going on. Right now, it's not so important. I need to get going on expanding. Yeah, look at it's radiating. So this actually makes more sense if you watch my Mars cooling video. A lot of information does apply to Vulcan. And let's see what I got here. Here I'm kind of checking out what I have here, grabbing a few items I'm going to need to expand the hydroponic room a little bit. One thing I need to make is a weather station, so I'm looking for a place to put it. So I think I'll put it right there in that tunnel area on the outside. I'm not really sure if the weather station has to be outside. I wonder if it works inside. I haven't tried that. I mean, in theory, it should be only outside, but you never know. Just make sure I got enough stuff to go out and follow around my little path here so I don't fall off. So I'll just fill in this little hole. I've been waiting for an excuse. I'll fill this section in. And we'll drop the weather station. I did look for the power cable. I know the power cable's on the right there, so just we're gonna stick it there. And what does it need? It needs plastic. And that's it. I was thinking it needed something else. And we'll put that there. there, and there, and there, and one more. That should connect into that wire. And that's why I was looking around earlier, make sure I knew where the wiring was at. And turn it on, and we're safe for now. I don't know if there's a delay, so reclaim just green. All right, so now, and if I was closer to the ground, this would be a little faster, but we'll just have to snake our way around the corner here. And set that piece, and this piece will be solid. Since I'm pretty sure you've seen me welding frames before, we'll just make this little section a little faster. All right, so this is how I'm going to create a vacuum here. So I'll set this up and run the wiring, and I'll have it set in the right configuration, turned on. And I'll run the wire in, and then from the inside, once it's enclosed, I'll connect the wire. And then before I open it up, I'll remove the wire. That step's pretty important. And we'll do part of the wiring here, and we'll just kind of do a little bit. So it's turned on, and it's going to exhaust. I go, well, let's put one more here. Round and round we go. Oh, seems happy. Somebody suggested I turn this in type of a blimp type structure. I really wish this base could move around a little bit. There's some rumors they're going to do some type of orbital thing, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, that's a whole other aspect of the game. I mean, I think early on, some of the they had like rocket engines that attached to a base. So it seemed like one of the early concepts is that you could have a base up in orbit in space that moves around like asteroid to asteroid, and which is a common thing for some other games. And it would be, they have everything, a lot of it here. You know, you just think of, you had this structure, you put some engines on it, you can move it around, and then, you know, you find asteroids, so you fly off and you mine the asteroid, and you have scanners, and you still have rockets to fly off to wherever, other planets, I guess. So we're just going to drop all this in. So effectively, you know, let's put windows all the way around and do the double hand thing, plastic glass. And then I'll hook it up from inside, create a vacuum, go off, do mining, other stuff. It doesn't take that long. And then go ahead and open it up. Make the mad rush across the base. Get some of this junk out of here. I went in here for the wiring, but I didn't realize the wire is in the hydroponic room. Getting a little crowded in here. Let's get this going. And we just have to connect it across here. And it's on. Right. So that's going to vacuum all that out. Now I have 72 in here. And that's just barely big enough. So worst comes to worst, I do have a complete tank of O2, smart canister fully filled in there. If I need to get the pressure up above 50, I'll just dump some of that O2 out to slam by hydroponic trays here. If you're hit, go ahead and dump my waste tank. Definitely nice using the smart tank for O2 because they last a very long time. So that's definitely a big win. Okay, it's happy. There's some dirt in my dirt canister. If you watch my hole filling video, then yeah, the empty canister in your mining belt, you go just do mining and it magically fills. And some high-speed mining. Back to the old base. We'll land on the lower platform, make it a little easier. Didn't get too much, just a little bit. I checked my battery on my heavy mining drill. If it's fine, then I'd leave it as is. Yeah, I've been saving my gold. It's pretty easy to smelt, and it does have a warming effect because it has O2 in it. So I figure if I need it, I can smelt it pretty easily. And two, it got a warning. Storm's coming up. And two, if I needed to warm up the furnace a little bit, I can just drop some gold in there and let it go through. Versus I can drop silver too, but checking to see if I could add more gas, but apparently not. All right, so as before, it gets to a certain level, then it stops, and I need to have some convection radiators outside. But this seems to be quote-unquote working. Fortunately, we do have cooler gas. I still need to replace the large heat exchanger with a evaporation chamber. It's on the things to do list. Right now, I said the priority is getting the hydroponic room enlarged and not get killed by a flying hydroponic tray. Well, the water bottles are stacking up, and most of those are okay. See, I'm looking in there, and you can tell if you look very closely, you can tell if it's a vacuum in there. And if your BS alarm just went off, well, that's a good thing. This is a very important step. Don't forget to do this. If you get to do this, your hydroponic room will become a vacuum, which is not a good thing. And just to make sure, I took a whole bunch of wires out. Just to make darn sure. Okay. Even if it wasn't perfectly a vacuum, you know, it's still going to be good enough. I might have to put in filtration and get rid of any pollutants in there, but pretty sure it was a vacuum by now. Doesn't take that long for space that small. And the second safety tip is make sure you do the interior walls only. Yeah, I went over here. I want to avoid the edge. Zip all these out. And there. All right. I increased my room, and I'm still at 51. So I need 50. So the potatoes want between 50 and 100 kPa. And you want to keep that optimum temperature and pressure. So we're still within the goal here. Now, when I leave the room, they're at one area where there's the airlock that gets vented here. That raises the pressure up a little bit. And worse comes to worse, I would say have that extra O2 tank sitting in here. I would just dump it out to boost the pressure up. But given it was about 74-ish and I only added about a third more, that kind of worked out to about 50. So, and dropping the more pipes in, and speeding up the farmer section here. Grabbing all the seeds. I thought about saving seeds, and I go, well, you know, if I lose this hydroponic room, yeah, we'll just call it a game at that point. So the goal here is to boost up the O2 production. The other factor, since I removed the grow light, in theory, not tested yet, I reduced the production rate of O2. And by having 4 more plants, then that means I'm compensating for that. Although it's a nice view from this spot. Okay, so we got larger. I still got more to put in there to enlarge. Now I grabbed some potatoes. The problem is I don't really have any room. It's not cool enough yet. Yeah, there's not a lot of water. I'm seeing how much water's in there. If it's not much water, then it might as well just turn it off and be done with it. So I am collecting pollutants. I need to switch over the pollutants for coolant into CO2, but I figured for now I'll just kind of collect the pollutants up, and then I can keep it in a tank since I have it kind of running. So if I just don't do anything, just leave it alone, I'll get a reasonable good batch of pollutants, and then I'm monitoring it, and then make sure it doesn't get over 5 megapascals, and then I'll go ahead and just switch over and close off the tank, pump it all back, pump all the residual pollutants into the tank, and then switch over. And then I'll cross connect my other CO2 supply and use that as coolant. But for now it's working, so we'll just do more important things. And I used up my last cereal bar, so I am stuck switching over to potatoes now. So unless I get a trader and get some wheat in, I think just wheat for flour. I can't make cereal bars. And mucking around, checking the water, good, and welded that up. And now I can't eat the potatoes in here, or the baked potatoes in here, so I will cook them and then put them in the hydroponic room. And still maintain the rule that I cannot open up my helmet in a vacuum. So now when I start consuming potatoes, it means that my hydration can only go to 100%. It can no longer go to 125. At this point, it really doesn't matter all that much. I mean, it does mean, some additional trips to drink, but... And you see the storm have started. And no, I have not replaced those cables with heavy cables yet. And part of the reason is that I have all that cabling for the logic circuits for tracking. So I need to upgrade that and use a real IC chip and do that. And it just, it takes time. It takes time to rip things out, put things in and all that. And I said, right now, the priorities, I just need to get that hydroponic room bigger. I need more O2. And looking at, just curious what the outside temperature is. So it's, it's nothing great at this point. And I believe what happens that the storm happens during the day. It's like a subtraction of what the day temperature is. If it happens at night for a short time, you get like a lower temperature. But what I've been told, you get time for a short time, but it's really kind of a pretty narrow window. It's hard to really do anything with it. groveling for stuff here. And this stuff has been degassed, so I'll put it in my degassed locker. I'm sort of kind of stuck now because of the storm. So we'll just sort of organize the base a little bit here. Zip for a little bit. And another full bottle of water. So I said water is no longer an issue anymore. That's good. Two bottles of water. And as I keep expanding my hydroponics, then that'll make that whole process easier. I'm forced to make more water bottles. I guess I shouldn't have tossed them all in the furnace. They're pretty cheap. And let's crank out some more trays. I want to fill, so effectively I'm adding 4 more rows of hydroponics to fill that spot. And once I'm able to get the pressure in the hydroponic room up to, say, 70, it could be a little less, but we'll target 70. I'll add another 5 grids to the hydroponic room area. There's a storm going on right now. People have mentioned you can put an alarm system on there, so when it triggers, there's so much of this game I'm just not. Oh, another full bottle, and we're cranking these things out. I think that last batch was a little bigger. Did we make it to 100? Almost. I mean, almost, just about. 98% probably just fine. Close enough to 100. I'm sort of stuck in here while I wait for the storm to end. Figure out, we'll put some more stuff in the hydroponic room. And 3 bottles of wattles. Yeah, I need to get a fountain in here. I mean, what I can do is I hook up a fountain up to the pipe and take all the bottles and just dump them into the hydroponic unit and then drink out the fountain. Maybe I'll do that in the next episode. But I'm on a mission to make hydroponic trays. Now, another thing I haven't done yet is, like in the back here, what I can do is I need to put some radiators on the liquid pipes to help keep the liquid within the same temperature of the room. So, some more farming stuff. Yeah, probably robot time, I think. Now, I'm not going to use any hydroponic robots in this series. I'm trying to keep it to Vulcan unique things, and the generic stuff will be in some other video. Drop all these in. I'm thinking of a more, I guess, an approachable run, so a more easier run, like on normal, not brutal. Not sure which planet. And then on that run, since it's not really about survival per se, I'll focus more on the automation scenarios and using robots for growing and other things they can do, things like that. Sipping around, checking, and I'm sort of, screwing around here because of the storm. And then we'll just kind of, did it make 100? Yeah, it made 100. Okay, cool. All right, so I think we milked all the water out of that batch. I'll make another batch. Yeah, it's still not bad. There's only a little bit of water in there, so it's not worth milking that out of there. And I'm going to turn this back on. Well, let's see what's got in here. Yeah, it's not enough yet. Get a little more in there. My O2 bottle is getting a little thin there, but I figured just milk out what we have. So effectively, you do a batch, you cool it down, then do the second batch. You can actually pipeline it with some automation, which I've done before, done a long time ago. I will do an automated water production system in this series. That's the plan, because some of the aspects are unique to Vulcan. So this is interesting. I still have communications to my, or at least one of my solar panels after the storm. Because last time when it broke it, when I lost connection to all of them, I got the error on the logic units. Just checking all the batteries, make sure while I'm standing here. That small charger is in the wrong place. It's connected directly to the main power, which means that the station battery will grab everything and only allow the small battery to charge if the station battery is full. Now, I don't tend to use small batteries, so it's not a big deal, but it really should be moved. Or actually just making a second battery charger unit, the bigger one. So it turns out I don't have to crawl up there. I can just do this from here. And I will go check all the wires. So we'll zap. Yeah, I only got 4. I have a 5th one I made. Power seems to be fine. So I'm just, once again, it's not a priority versus other things I need to deal with. And they're all tracking. So I know the wiring, there's no communication problem. So if I saw like one wasn't tracking, then I know there's must have been a broken wire between the path. And since they're all moving, and I use both power and data on the same cable. And let's walk these wires. They all seem to be happy. Yeah. Okay. So for whatever reason, I didn't take a hit this time around. So that's good. Yeah, I'm thinking just, I guess, set up another power array with another station battery on it. And leave what's working, and put a second one next to it and hook that up. That way you don't want to be in a state where you tear things apart and now you're kind of screwed if you can't get back together again fast enough. Sort of like working on your only car. So right now I'm thinking about, should I make a batch of steel or just smelt the iron? And I decided just to smelt the iron. I got plenty of steel. It's at least enough steel right now. I can always make more steel from the iron, and I may need the iron. I'm going through a lot of it for the hydroponic trays. So I figured keep it for now. All right, so it's still a little toasty, so I'm going to be building some stuff, making a tablet. I'm going to make a plant analyzer, some consoles, some advanced airlock cards, some more active vents, passive vents. And so here are the sensors for the airlock. In general, I'm trying to automate more. So I want to get the airlock going outside and the airlock to the hydroponic room automatic, so I don't oopsie on those. And need to start making an advanced furnace here. I'm actually going to make 2, or try to make 2 of them. But I'll start making 1. Print's a little slower than I realized, so we'll just let that cook for now. And setting up all this stuff. I won't get the airlocks done in this episode, but just get the initial stuff set up. So I'll be able to finish those off in the next one. And let's see. So we'll continue to, so in the next episode, I'll fill out the hydroponic room, add another row of hydroponic trays. So basically, so that it's like 7 rows of hydroponic trays there. Then with that going, and it's cooking O2, then I think the next thing is get an O2 extractor going so I can pull O2 out I'll probably wait to the next expansion before I bother doing that. Then I need to go through and refactor my cooling system, switch over to the Experiment 4 version of it. And by then I should have enough pollutants, and I'll switch out the pollutants for CO2 and should make things easier for water production. And then, and then once the cooling is in a better place, then I can actually start put a chip in the combustor for running. Oh, another thing too, I'm pulling volatile directly from the atmosphere. I need to pull it. I'm collecting volatile downstairs, so I need to do some plumbing in that lower floor, my utility room. Finish filling that out, and then I want to enclose it and put a vacuum in there, somehow connect these together. All right, here's the cool part coming up right here. Now watch this. So when I did the mine, now if you saw the terrain hole filling video, this should be like, okay, same old. But the interesting part, there's no height limit. And then once I put this down, if I jetpack over where I added the terrain, my floating island, should we call it, then the height is based on this. So basically I can now fly up to much higher over top of my base now with this down. Now I would have to cover the whole bottom of the base with this, but it is doable. And so I'm going like 2 out and just 2 away from the edge of the frame. And see, I'm doing the test now with the jetpack. And see, before I couldn't do this. I'd be limited. I could not go this high. Now, if I move off this patch now, I'll just fall down. So that's working just perfect. So I've graduated from Skybox edition to Floating Island edition. So in theory, I could, if I have a lot of time, I could just take this straight down, all the way down. Now I did do a lot of mining to get the dirt too, so that's another problem. I'm going to run out of dirt real fast here. And then I'll do more mining. And I built a second canister so I can have one in the terrain manipulator and one in the mining belt. Yeah, I think that's it. Interesting. So that was pretty interesting. I don't think, has anyone else used the terrain manipulator to build a floating island? I don't think so. I think this is the first. I've seen it here. All right, so the rest of this episode, I'm just going to do some mining. Here's some lead. I'll just grab that. Anything useful, I'll just grab. And then, of course, sort of the priority is I want to gather more dirt, so I can use that. And I guess one of the morals of the story is create a dirt canister. Well, if you want to do something like this, create the dirt canister earlier when you can, and then just leave it sitting there and gathering up dirt as you go. And then when you're finally ready to use the terrain manipulator, you have a lot of dirt already ready to go. Wow, this is look, my little dirt patch. That's kind of cool, and I can fly up here. All right, so until next time, see ya.